Hello everyone, my name is Shweta and in this today video we talk about the pin strategy. We have two type of pin. One is absolute pin and other one is relative pin. In the absolute pin, the piece not able to move, and in the relative pin you can able to move the piece. You have a choice. It's totally depend on the positions. So now we see multiple positions so you can more clarity on that what you mean by pin and how many type of pins we have. So now I share my screen. Okay. Right now we talk about black first. So the black queen play active, rook play also active, and this bishop also play active. And all these three pieces attack on this knight. And right now this knight is absolute pin. Why? Because the knight not able to move anywhere. If the knight moves, so that's an illegal move. So right now I have an option to capture this queen. That's a piece to piece. And right now, if we see all the position very carefully, so we find out that this pawn has no support. Now you think the knight has support this pawn, but rook also pin this knight. So if you capture the pawn by queen, knight not capture you back. And also the same position also attack on the king. So king has an option to change the position or this position, or queen come to d2 and protect the king. So right now the white has three options, and now the white choose to move the queen back. Now I use my queen, and again I have an option to capture this queen. Again, that's a piece to piece. So I find out again is there any other piece which has no support? So there's a rook. I use my queen and capture that rook. Next position. Right now I use my rook and capture this pawn and attack on king. This is the queen is pin. Queen not able to capture my rook because the queen is pin. And again, that's the absolute pin. As well as the queen not capture me and queen not capture this queen as well. Because queen not capture this queen because rook attacking. The black need to save the king first. So it's simple. Now again I move my rook down and again the queen is pin. So right now the black has two options. Not capture the queen or capture the queen. So if you not capture, so again two attackers, one supporter, I get this queen free of course. That's why queen will capture. Now I use my pawn and capture back. Next position. Right now I have an option to do piece to piece with the queen. If I capture the queen, rook will capture me. Okay. This rook play active. Why? Because the open line. This is rook is non-active. And if you talk about this pawn, two attackers and only one supporter. And for this is a king. So king not able to capture the rook as well. And rest opponent rook is also non-active. So right now I have two options to attack on king. One is move the rook up and other one is move the queen up. So let's see if I move my queen up. So what happened? Queen again to piece. Correct? And when you move the rook up again attack on the king, it's easy way for black to move the knight back and save the king. So right now I choose the rook and attack on king. So the knight come and protect. Now I see is there any other option to attack on the king? This is and this option. This is a blunder because rook not support diagonally. So I just move my queen to e6. And again, this knight is pin. And this is again absolute pin. So right now, the knight not able to capture my queen. King need to change the position. And now I use my rook and capture this knight. And that's a checkmate. Next position. If we talk about this piece, see, this is a relative pin. If the relative pin, if the rook move, if the bishop move, I capture this rook. So it's bishop choice. Bishop want to move or not. Right now, this knight attack on the bishop and rook. So that's a fork attack. I already make a video on fork attack. When one piece attack on multiple, or you can say when one piece attack on two pieces, that's a fork attack. So this bishop has no support and rook has multiple support. The knight support the rook support the rook, and the pawn also support the rook. So right now we think if we capture the bishop, so rook will capture me. Okay, that's okay. The knight will capture me. I protect my king. Rook will capture me. I have an option to capture this rook. Again, that's a piece to piece. So now I focus on my bishop and again I pin this rook. So now this is absolute pin because rook not able to move. Otherwise, bishop attack on the king. So that's an illegal move if the rook move. Again, two attackers and only one supporter. So if the white change the knight, protect the knight, in this position, we simply capture this rook. Again, attack on king. Next position. Right now, this pawn is pin. The rook attack on the king. That's why the black not push this pawn. And right now is a white turn. So the white pawn has no support. If we talk about this knight, Knight has an option to apply the fork attack. And same, this pawn is pinned. The pawn not able to capture my knight. Understand? So now the king changed their position because there's a check. And now we simply capture this rook. Now this is the last position. In this position, this rook is pinned. The rook not able to move anywhere, but rook can capture me. Okay. And if we talk about this sense, like this diagonally, so this is a relative pin. Intentionally, rook not want to move the queen, capture the queen. Again, that's a piece to piece. If somebody not support, then it's okay. So right now, if we talk about the how many piece attack on the rook and how many piece support that rook, so two attacker and two supporter. So I simply capture this rook. Queen will capture me. Now I use my rook to d8. If I move my rook to d8, so again the queen is pinned, and that's a absolute pin. So queen not able to capture me. Queen, the king can change the position, but still I capture this queen, so it's better for white to capture me back. When the queen capture me is a check. Right now I have an option to capture this queen by knight. So see, in the absolute pin, you get the advantage. You get the opponent queen in return of rook. Hope you understand the absolute pin and relative pin. For more videos, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.